thanks to the Tier 5 channel members and patrons. Bob the Dragon, Datamagnet, Sergeant Puma, Cat Crab Lobster, and Duck Machine. Thank you very much for the support. It is much appreciated. Story number 1. Never torture humans. It doesn't work. Written by original Rich Gabe. This could end the war. That was the single thought on the mind of Golnut, of the Festivan. He stretched his pearly white wings out and snapped his stout beak shut. The Empire of Avion had been at war with the humans for just 7 months. In these 7 months, the humans, who had been technologically backward and extremely divided, had become one nation, the Terran Empire, and had reverse engineered the Empire of Avion ships, had somehow made them better. But Golnut had just captured a human vessel. Well, kind of. He had captured the vessel and transported its crew to his ship, but then the humans blew it up. He still found the idea of self-destruct both amazing and sickening. "Now, Captain," he chirped, "you will tell me what I want to know. Understand?" The captain didn't say anything. Golnut flicked his feathers on his left wing, and the 2 armored soldiers jabbed him with electric sticks. "No! What's that for?" the captain asked through gritted teeth. "You didn't answer," Golnut said, taken back. "He didn't ask anything," the human said defensively. "What?" he said, now confused. "Well, you have to have a ship to be a captain, and I blew it up." "Smart ass," murmured Golnut. "Why, thank you," the human said pleasantly. He was shocked again. "For insolence," Golnut said with anger, "I will kill 10 of your men." "What?" the human said fearfully. "Look, I'm sorry, ask away." No, Golnut said. "You will be punished. Drop them in." In front of them, the wall started to retract to reveal a window. On the other side was a massive tank of what looked like water. "Now see your men burned. This is a tank full of water, normally harmless, but we have filled it with 0.5 per million of..." He paused for dramatic effect. "Chlorine!" The human tried to contain a laugh, his face going red, water streaming from his eyes. Effectively, he was going to kill his crew in a slightly unclean swimming pool. Golnut felt the primitive pride swell up in him. The human was in tears. The mighty warrior face had even turned red in, well, he didn't know, but he suspected sadness. Then the humans were dropped in. Their eyes were squeezed shut and they were all frightened. Golnut turned away. He had never enjoyed watching someone chemically burn alive. "No," he said menacingly. "Answer all of my questions. Got it?" He couldn't hold it any longer. The captor was being too serious in such a funny situation to take seriously. He burst out laughing, to the confusion of his captors. "Fine," Golnut said. "I will throw in 10 more. He turned around and, wait, was that human doing a backstroke? Indeed. One of them was making a fountain with a mouth, and the others were throwing water at each other. "What the He couldn't contain himself. This was just so preposterous. "Do your people not know what they are in?" Golnut said, trying to regain the danger in his voice. "More or less," the human shrugged. "I mean, they probably think they were in a cleaner swimming pool, to be fair." "Hey, cleaner!" Golnut could not believe what he was hearing. "No matter," he said, regaining his danger in his voice now. "We have other methods." The room that they were in moved sideways. Now there was a table that had cake on it past the glass wall. "So, you're going to kill my crew with, sponge cake," the human said, disbelieving the situation he was in. "Ha! Hardly! It has been poisoned!" He thought that he should be fearful again for the safety of his crew, but then again, he did just see a big bird try and kill his crew with a swimming pool. Now your crew may be able to withstand highly chlorinated water, but they cannot withstand poison, I am sure. May I ask, what poison it is? He asked. It is the most deadliest poison known to the galaxy, and in most civilizations it is feared. And he went off on an evil villain dialogue. And so, when we have put it in what you humans consider to be a delicacy cake, it is called chocolate. He had never seen or heard of someone regarding chocolate as pure evil this much, and talk about it as if it were equivalent to a Death Star. And he found it so hard not to burst out laughing again. How, he thought, do they know about cake and not chocolate? His crew entered, confused. They sat down by the guards and were told to eat. When they refused, guns were pointed at their heads. They ate, and then one of them grinned and said, "Hey, tastes like chocolate." Infuriated at the human ability to just not die, Galnet flapped his wings in a huff and strode out of the torture room. Notes from after the war. This is reinstated Captain James Fowler. So that was the situation when my crew and I were captured. I admit it could have gone in a very not funny manner very quickly. We had managed to escape about a week later, and the war finished about a year after that. Then we found out why they tried to torture us in this manner. First off, the chlorine. We all know high amounts of chlorine is highly dangerous. That's why only 1 to 3 parts per million is used in a swimming pool. However, the alien species seem to reverse sweat, that is, to take in water from around them in the air. Whilst we still don't know how the hell that works, and how it even works like sweating does, it means that they go into a swimming pool and absorb it in their skin, and, apparently, this burns them from the inside out. We still don't know how this works as, unsurprisingly, the people we were just at war with don't want to share their biology. The second is that, apparently, chocolate to them is similar to a dog, but worse. Apparently their version is even higher in sugar content. Yay, and banned for its lethality across most of the galaxy. How unlucky that is for them. End of chapter. Story number 2. Elegant Trajectories, written by Sailor 51 Pegasi B. By the spirits of the ancestors, are you sure this trajectory is right? Zaitit asked, pointing their upper arm at the trajectory plot of the space probe's journey. The probe had been found in Sector 1087 several cycles ago, and it had been a font of mysteries ever since. The most prominent feature had been the large bowl-shaped structure that held a small structure raised above it. For what purpose, Zaitit didn't know, but it had equally fascinated and frustrated the researchers who had found it after its discovery. But they weren't focused on the physical construction of the thing. No, Zaitit was focused on the backtracking its trajectory. It was of interest to the Union Academy of Sciences, because there were only 16 tiny thrusters and no form of mass reduction system, which begged the question of how this probe got so far out into deep space. When Kazait had plotted the course on the computer, it had led them to a star system less than a fraction of a light year away. That made sense, of course. There was no FTL drive of any kind, so it couldn't have gotten far. But it was when they traced it back to the star system that the probe was thought to have originated from that the elegance of it had shone through. GX 8358528 was an otherwise unremarkable main sequence star with 4 major planets around it, and 2 asteroid belts, one between the main planet and the star, and one outside the outermost planet. The star had been catalogued, and the astronomers and explorers had moved on. The system's habitable belt had been well inside the inner asteroid belt, and none of the telescopes had been able to see through the star's glare if there were any smaller planets inside the inner belt. One observer had suggested that it might be possible for it to be a world that had life on it in that region, citing anomalous radio emissions that appeared to be emanating from the source orbiting the star. But there were questions about their methods. The trajectory backtrace had led the outermost major planet, but it didn't match with that being the planet of origination. Instead, backtracking it led it to the third planet, another major planet with a shallow gravity well, but still no planet of origination. The second planet was close, passing by several of its moons, but nothing suggested a surface crossing, the telltale sign of planet of origin. Following it back to the first planet revealed the same issue, that it never passed close enough to be launched from here. This probe, this impossible machine, had originated somewhere in the unmapped inner region. But it was when Kazakzit had plotted the trajectory that the sheer elegance of whoever launched this stood out. In a single flight, the probe builders had sent it through 4 planetary systems, using the gravity of each one to aim it at the next. It made the galactic standard method of sublight travel of pointing one ship at a destination, firing the engines, turning around halfway there, and deaccelerating seem crude and barbaric. And yet, it reminded them of the tales of the ancestors reaching space, how they would spend many cycles in transit, and how they would wait for their planets to align. Kazakzit had once dismissed these stories as fables for hatchlings, to teach them the values of patience. But now, they weren't sure. End of chapter. And that, my friends, concludes